Secrets, if you really look at yourself, you would be speechless. What happened to being doctors and teachers? What happened to being your brother's keeper? Nowadays, kids more work.
Yo, what is poppin'? It's the top of the week, so you already know what time it is. It's your boy, Mr.BandClap, at it again with another on point Orisha Tarot forecast spread. And this is going to be for the week of Monday, January the 13th through Sunday, January the 19th of 2025. Man. Y'all see the title. Y'all see the title. And this is what came to me today when it comes to this week, just this Capricorn season, how everything has been starting since the beginning of the Gregorian New Year, because we know that the real New Year won't really start until around March, but this time right here is marking the end of so many different cycles, so many different agreements, so many different things that we just can't take it with us into this next cycle, into this next chapter of our lives. And I know for a lot of us, yesterday, which was Monday, the realization of that is something that a lot of us felt during that time. And for those who felt fulfilled, you had this sense of you're on the right track. And just keep going forward, just keep moving. But for the rest of us that still have business that we're still trying to handle, we still got stuff in that last cycle that still needs to be addressed and still needs to be dealt with and stuff like that. We didn't necessarily feel fulfilled yesterday. And I know me, I felt extremely uncomfortable. I felt extremely uncomfortable because it's one of those feelings to where you know what you need to let go. It's literally right there in front of you, what you need to let go. But the main thing that I personally needed to let go was also something that was a instrument that I was using to make money all of this time. It was something that I was using so that I can make sure I can get to work and all of that kind of stuff when I had gigs. But on the back end, the things of the previous cycle that we're trying to hold on to just because we feel like that if we lose it, that we're going to be in a bad space. We don't realize, and we don't even take into account how much these things not only have hurt us, but are still hurting us. The more we hold on to it and the more we delay the inevitable. So my example of this, as y'all know, the truck that I had since 2018 ended up finally kicking the bucket while I was headed back to Memphis in 2023 in Sylvester, Georgia. So my plan was when I got back home to Memphis that I was just going to work, do what I needed to do so I can save up the money that I already got and mix it with the new money that I'm going to get from these jobs. And I was going to either buy me a new vehicle or I was just going to get a tow truck so I can get my truck from Sylvester, Georgia, bring it back to Memphis and get a mechanic here to work on it. But in my life, it's always one of those type of things to where you can't necessarily do what you want to do because the thing that's a necessity is what's needed of you first. And that necessity was my dad. At that time, my dad had his major surgery. He was in and out of the hospital. His current vehicle was extremely unreliable. So I had a choice that I had to make. And that choice was, are you going to be in this situation where you're here, you don't have no transportation, you got this money, but you're saving up, but in the position that my dad was in, sitting there, not being able to help him, not being able to take him to the hospital, not being able to take him to his appointments, not being able to go and get different essential things that he would need, such as medicine and prescriptions and stuff like that. That would have hurt me. That would have devastated me, not being able to be there for my dad like he's always been there for me. So yeah, I made a sacrifice, and this sacrifice I've been paying for like the last 2 years, because it was that moment was my first time getting a rental car. So I got the rental car and I was making money through apps that you can use a car, and also doing odd show production gigs whenever they became available. And because of various situations that were out of my control and some that were also in my control, I ended up racking up a lot of debt, and this debt ended up becoming a part of this perpetual cycle that has been growing and growing ever since. But on the flip side, with me having this rental car, now I can make moves that at first I couldn't make. And even though it was hurting me on one end, I had to use that toxic cycle to make my escape out of Memphis, because I was starting to get health problems. I was starting to get extremely sick. Ended up finding out different things was going on with the house and stuff like that I was at. So I had to make a leap that I didn't really want to make, but it was a necessity. So I ended up coming back to Florida thinking that I'll be able to get out of that particular cycle. But since things in show production have been still extremely slow, I found myself still in that cycle, racking up debt, all my time, all my energy being spent on that. And even though things beneath the surface was crumbling, on the outside, I paid my rent on time, I paid my bills on time, and there's so many different things that I was able to accomplish. I can't necessarily say that I regret it, but I always knew that one day this cycle was going to come to an end, whether I wanted it to or not. And that's what happened today. January has been extremely slow. The end of last year was extremely slow. And when it comes to the rental car that I had, I can't lie, I was delaying the inevitable because I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to throw in the towel, even though I knew deep down that I didn't know how I was going to get that money for that car because the fees started going up. It's the beginning of the year, so prices are extremely high. Nobody's really hiring right now. Things are just slow because this is a period of transition. So yeah, things are slow. So at first I thought I was going to be able to save it. I thought I was going to be able to save it because last night someone ended up purchasing a Everything is Everything reading, which would have been enough for me to at least bring it in and switch out the contract for at least a day or two. But alas, it was too late. And at 3:33 today, got a call from the tow company and they towed it. So yeah, that cycle has officially ended. This was a almost 3-year cycle, very toxic cycle, very draining cycle. So now I'm in this period of being unsure, a period of not really knowing what's going to happen next, but just praying that everything that needs to be paid can still and will still be paid. Because at the end of the day, I don't regret being in that cycle, because the reason why I got into that cycle, I had good intentions. I was selfless. I was doing something that I felt needed to be done at the time so I could, take care of my family and take care of my parents. And we all face this particular moment. And, a lot of us, we like to delay the inevitable, because if you're someone that has heart, you're someone that has a fighting spirit. We don't like for things to end in a way that we felt like we're defeated. We don't like feeling defeated. We don't like feeling like maybe there was an option that we didn't try, or maybe there was something that we didn't look into or whatever. But at the end of the day, this has to happen in order for the phoenix to rise. And since we're in this this Sagittarian year, we're going to be going through these type of endings and going through these type of things all year. So it's definitely something to think about. And let's get to this reading. So as y'all see, we have one overall card today, and this is from the Santa Muerte Oracle deck, and this is going to be just the overall message for this week. And then as you can see, we got 7 rows of cards, and these 7 rows are from Monday through Sunday. And I always say you may not go through these things on the particular day, but it's just something for you to be cognizant about during the week. All right. So for the overall card for this week, we have the 10 card. And it's funny because we're in the 10th house month. We're in Capricorn season. Capricorn is over the 10th house. So this is talking about, your career, things that you're working towards, different things like that. And remember last week we were talking about building the arc, and that's something that you're going to be building on an outward level. So this week is talking about the transformations and the ending of cycles that are happening on a inner level, so that when you build this arc, you don't take those same thoughts and those same feelings that resulted in the last arc that resulted in the last world that you built crashing down. This time, when you build your ark, this time when you are building in this new cycle, you're going to be able to take the lessons, you're going to be able to take all of the mistakes that you made and the things that you learned and all of that, and apply that to this new foundation so it can last a lot longer. Because it's not about trying to keep a cycle going forever and ever just because you're successful in that cycle, but it's more about you being able to extract all the wisdom that needed to be extracted in that particular cycle so that you can go to that next cycle and be successful. So it's funny because this card actually represents the Baron, you know, the king of the dead and the afterlife, the ruler of the deepest part of the underworld, along with his wife, Brigitte. He forms the binary and complementary opposition of desegregation of bodies of matter. We see him on this particular card. He's devouring a body for rupture and fading out the starting point for any successive work of creation or regeneration. You know, that's what I was talking about. Devouring the previous cycle so that there can be a newness and a regeneration when it comes to the new cycle that we're going to be going into. It says he is the analysis before synthesis, the phoenix that dies and turns to ashes before rebirth. And yeah, that's what we're going through on an inner level right now. So this card says it is time to look at the situation from a more in-depth point of view so that you can analyze the circumstances before putting the pieces back together. So like I said, this is in total succession of last week. This is going to be a week of inner work. This is going to be a week of shadow work for a lot of us. So when we go into these days, this is going to talk about some of the things that may come up, or some of the things that you may witness on an emotional, physical, mental, or spiritual level during this time. All right, so let's see what Monday has for us. So yeah, for Monday, as you can see, Monday was a very, very reflective time. Monday was a time of purging. I know for me, I tried my best to get up and try to make some money, but I just could not get out the bed. I ended up waking up mad late. I overslept. My alarm didn't even go off when it was supposed to. It was just crazy, and I just couldn't understand why I couldn't go out there and do what I normally do. And I think the reason why is because spiritually, it started to really, really become unfulfilling for me to do that. And right now, choosing to stubbornly keep yourself in a energy of being unfulfilled is only going to hurt you even more during this time, because again, you can't delay the inevitable. It's like a lot of times we like to skip over the times like Monday. You know, sometimes when we're trying to transform and all of this stuff, a lot of times, you know, we like to skip over the stormy Mondays. Cause yeah, on an inner level, it definitely felt like a stormy Monday, at least for me. Spirit wanted me to stay inside where it was safe at during the storm. While me, I'm looking at it as, you know, when it's storming outside, the orders that you get, you know, with the apps are more. You know, you get more because nobody wants to go outside, so they're ordering out, and I can make money. I can make some money or whatever. But Spirit was like, no, with this particular storm, you need to be in the house. You know, you need to be in the house. You don't need to be, you know, out while this storm is going on. So a lot of times when people see that devil card, they automatically think of something bad. But at the end of the day, the devil can only do what you allow the devil to do in your life. So my best example of this, there's this mobile game that I be playing. It's called Archero, and it's this RPG game where you go and you got your bow and arrow, and you go throughout these levels defeating these various monsters and stuff. And you got 50 levels, and randomly when you defeat a level, sometimes you'll have an angel and you can go up to the angel and the angel will give you health. And then sometimes when you defeat a level, you'll find a warrior, and this warrior will give you like these real big attack buffs and stuff like that. Now sometimes when you defeat a level, the devil will come. It's like this little devil, and he'll come and he'll offer you a deal. Now, you know, it's a gamble. You know, it's a gamble because sometimes, you know, if you see that you're at a certain part of the journey to where you're almost about to get to the boss, or you're almost about to get to a harder level, and the devil offers you something that is like an extremely powerful weapon or an extremely powerful buff that's like a once in a lifetime type of thing. Now, the catch to it is he might say, I'll give you this ability in exchange for 700 of your health, or in exchange for 800 of your health, or something like that. Now, if you've been doing the work that you were supposed to do during the rest of the game, so you have a high health, you got a bunch of health, yeah, accepting that deal from the devil, it may sting a little bit, but it's something that you're definitely going to be able to come back from. And now, since you got this ability, this is going to help you get farther in the game than you would have if you would have rejected it. So that's an example of the devil actually being a help to you. But in most cases in that game, what the devil offers isn't necessarily something that you can't get on your own. So a lot of times when the devil comes up in that particular game, I just choose to reject whatever the devil has to offer. And that's the same thing about real life, because the card right next to the devil, that 6 of earth, that's talking about being stubborn. That's somebody not appreciating what they have, and they're greedy and they lack altruism. So now, as a result of these stubborn attitudes that you have, that's what leads to the 7 of earth reversed. And that's lack of analysis. You ended up biting off more than you can chew. The tallest, the biggest, and the strongest, and presumably the safest, is not always the one that has more fruits. So, that kind of talks about my situation too, because me being stubborn, not wanting to do what I know I was supposed to do because of a lack of analysis, because for so long, the rental car situation was the safest, and it was the thing that helped me to make the most money at the time. But what Spirit is trying to show us right now, it's like, look at what came from it. Look at what came from this toxic cycle. Look at what came from this cycle that, yeah, you were successful at it for a while, but it's like now all of that toxicity that you've been holding down just so you can get by for a little while longer, all of that is starting to rear its ugly head. It's starting to come to a head. And this moon card, it just talks about you reflecting over that. It's just you truly feeling the effects of the sacrifice that you've been making all this time. And it's like, was it worth it? Was it worth it? Was it worth me being in all this debt? Was it worth the embarrassing situations that have occurred because of this? So during Monday, I'm pretty sure that a lot of you all was meditating and praying and asking yourself these type of questions internally. And the message for Monday was that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And speaking of the morning, let's see what Tuesday has for us. So with Tuesday, this represents the new mercy. This represents the new mercy. This represents your spirit team. This represents what was karmically supposed to happen once you let go of this cycle. And the reason why it's like this is because, just like what Sister Mara said, you can't blend energies. You can only finish one half so that you can start on the other half in a alchemical, harmonious type of way. So when we talk about Monday, that represents us feeling those feelings that represents the end of this cycle and everything that entails. But then today is a promise of a new mercy. It's a promise of a new and a blossoming new stage, a new cycle, a new you. So that's what Tuesday is talking about with Oshun being right there. And since she's upright, this is the grown-up Oshun. Now, why does that matter? Why does that matter? And this is just my thing. This is how I understand the Orisha. This is how I have used alchemy to work with them in my special way. But this particular version of the grown-up Oshun, this talks about something that you were taking care of while it was in its infancy stage. Maybe it was a project that you started, and you felt you was in love with it. Like, you loved this project. It was your baby. It was your baby girl, and maybe some things happened to where you had to abandon this particular project. Or for some people, this might be a person. This might be a person coming back into your life. A person that maybe y'all were good friends at one time, or maybe y'all were in a relationship in the past, but maybe something happened to where y'all had to abandon that relationship. Maybe y'all had to move, or maybe somebody got locked up, or but this particular Oshun card This is talking about something blossoming that in its infancy you loved it so much to where now we're in a situation to where this is what's going to be responsible for freeing you. This is what's going to be responsible for freeing you. So for me, it was that everything is everything reading that I got. Y'all know I always talk about the readings that I do on my channel, www.bandclaptv.com, if you want to schedule a reading with me. And I always talk about how the Everything is Everything reading is my bestseller. And it's very interesting how I got this particular reading. This brother, I gave him a reading 4 years ago, and he was just telling me about how everything that I said in that reading was on point. He's doing good in his life now, and he referred me this lady. I don't know if I forgot if it was his significant other or if this is just a soul family member of his. But since it fell on today, I already know that she's most likely going to be a Oshun. She's most likely going to be a baby Oshun, you know, so I can't wait to give her that reading. Another thing that happened, I got a message from a very prominent spiritual YouTuber. I'm not going to say no names just yet, but he just randomly hit me up at like 4 a.m. talking about, yo, we need to do some work together, and there was this goddess that asked me about you, and I was like, yeah, I know him, I know him. So he was like, that's a sign, and we need to work together, we need to do some stuff. And this particular YouTuber, he has a way bigger following than I do, and if we're able to do some stuff together to where we're able to integrate our followers and integrate our subscribers and stuff like that, that alone will be what I would need, financially, in order to fully make this jump into this other cycle. But the only reason why I even have this option is because of the salamander card. This talks about someone that has experience, someone that has experience when it comes to being able to adapt into different situations, different emotional situations, mental, spiritual situations. This is someone with much experience in life, someone who fights for ideals, someone who is a great thinker, a great strategist, someone who has a ruler mentality, someone whose will is strong. They got a strong will, and they have a dynamic and optimistic, realistic, and rational type of disposition. And as long as you're able to exude these type of things, because you were able to extract the wisdom from that last cycle that you was in, that earth element, which is the card above, that earth element, this is what's going to keep you stable. This is what's going to stabilize you, your Taurus placement, the things that you value, Virgo, when it comes to your work ethic, when it comes to your health and your innocence, the management of your innocence, that's very important during this time. And then also Capricorn, the season that we're in now, we're all going through different processes of ending things, different processes of transforming things, and different processes of choosing career paths that's going to better suit you in this new cycle that we're going into. So when you look at that Oshun card, at the bottom, and you see the land that she's in, the land that she's in, where she's at, she got all the prosperity, she got all the vegetation, she got all the food, she's the goddess of beauty and fertility. So she'll be the only woman that you would need, if you want to look at it in a human way. But Oshun represents the type of cycle that we all want to be in, that we all want to transition into. But some of us, we've been in such a bad situation for so long. A lot of us that dream of being in a Oshun-like environment, or an Oshun-like state of mind, or a mental state, or spiritual state, a lot of us have lost that connection with that possibility. So if there's anything that's ending in your life right now, like the situation what I'm going through with this rental car, it was to free you. And that's what that 8 of air represent. That's freeing you. Imagine you being a caged bird, in a desert environment, and you see all the other birds around you dying, and you're a caged bird. So it's like, dang, if I can be free, I won't be like those birds and just stay in that environment until they die. I'm gonna try to fly. If I ever get the chance to get free, I'm gonna try to fly. I'm gonna try to, get up out of here, and since I know Oshun, since I know where her land is at, I'm not going to be around here wasting my energy, flying just all willy-nilly, wasting my energy, and now I'm exhausted, and now I end up like those birds right there. You know, that's how I see these cards as well. It's you understanding, because of your visualization, you understanding where you're going, you understanding where you want to go because of the visualization that you were doing, you know, during the time that you were supposed to do that. That's the reason why when you get set free from your cage, you're going to know how to better manage your energy, so you can get to where you need to go, while everybody else is overexerting their energy, and they're confused, and they're going to end up burning themselves out, and they're going to end up you know, being a bad omen. You know, so that's the message for Tuesday, and let's see what Wednesday has for us. So with Wednesday, this is giving you some reassurance when it comes to you going for your goals, because with a new cycle and with a new transformation comes a evolved sense of identity, and also evolved passions and motivations. And these may be passions and motivations that people around you may not even be able to fathom what you're even talking about, because they may be in that last cycle that's crumbling, and they're delaying the inevitable. So they haven't crossed over to where you've crossed over to yet. So this 5 of Fire says, use the same weapons as your opponents, or a more powerful one. Your cleverness and astuteness should be a part of a strategy to deliver accurate blows and have a efficient defense. The struggle will be hard and tiresome. The beast will try to corrupt you. Don't allow yourself to be tempted, otherwise it will catch you. Fight fairly and the victory will be yours. And then above that, you got the 4 of Earth. You know, this is talking about you know, ultimate stability. This is talking about ultimate stability, being sure in every step, being sure in every brick, being sure in every movement, in everything you do. You know, walk courageously and be sure of yourself, and you will be the GOAT, you know. And then the 5 of Earth and the Ace of Water above it is talking about you becoming the master of your new cycle. See, the 5 of Earth, that talks about the transformation process that you just came out of, and now you've gained a new place in life. You know, you've came out of a real bad situation, and now you're on the other side. And with the Ace of Water, that means that there's new opportunities ahead of you. There's new opportunities to build. There's new opportunities to experience new things. The Ace of Water talks about there comes a stage in which your childhood experience is present, and a person who makes a balance between past, present, and future will project love. Feelings prevail without mental or psychic confusion. Times of great beauty and joy. So yeah, don't be discouraged, and I'm talking to myself as well. You know, don't be discouraged, even though cycles are ending around you, you know, because in the future this new cycle is going to be a lot more stable, but you have to let things end. You got to let things go. And that's always the hard part. And the reason why it's so hard is because when we see what Thursday has for us, kind of shows you how we ended up in this situation in the first place. It shows you how we ended up in this situation in the first place. And this is on a global standpoint. This is on a global scale, because every time that I see Oshumare, in a lot of cases, it got something to do with the matrix that we're in. It got something to do with the powers that be. And we know that this is the year of the snake. You know, this is the year of the snake, and it's also the year of the phoenix, the year of the dragon. And I just say that on a spiritual standpoint, because spiritually, you're going to be able to feel all of those type of energies right now. But when I see that Oshumare, and then I see the undies and mermaids, this is talking about wealth, and it's talking about wealthy people in high places. And when you talk about Oshumare, this is like a global type of thing, like a global message. You know, this is the shaking up that's happening all over. So you got 2 upright cards at the bottom, and then you got 2 reverse cards at the bottom. So the 3 of Earth, this is talking about the mental state of these Oshumares that were in high places. Now, this is another thing when it comes to Oshumare. If you know about the Orisha Oshumare, Oshumare is he was like a dragon, a flying snake type of being. You know, he was able to go all the way up to the clouds and bring, this is crazy. Oshumare brought water from the sea to the clouds to make rain, during the dry season and stuff like that. And that's why, Oshumare represents the rainbow. Edo, which is the exalted version of Oya, also represents the rainbow. And in the news, they talked about how the wildfires in California got so crazy to the point where they had to bring seawater to the air in order to rain down on the fires. So, this is a very, very, this is a very, symbolic reading. This is very symbolic because this is talking about what's going on with these powers that be and why all of this is going on in the first place. It has a lot to do with corporate greed. Not all of the stuff that you see is going on because of nature. There's videos out there of regular people out here burning people's houses up, people trying to get insurance money. You got people on social media crying and talking about my house got burnt down and all of this stuff. And because of the type of energy that we're in, where people can be lying, people can be out here clout chasing and stuff like that, because clout chasing was something that was very prevalent during Sagittarius season, which was the ninth house. So clout chasing in the midst of disaster is going to be another big thing that's going to be going on. So when you look at this Three of Earth, it talks about selfishness, cynicism, totalitarianism, ignorance, and obstinacy, disunion of efforts, and a lack of collaboration. Did y'all see what President Biden said as far as what he was going to do in order to help the people that were displaced by the California wildfires? He said he's going to give people a $770 check to help them, he said, buy essential items. I don't know what store they're going to get that from. I don't know where they're going to go to get these essential items, if everywhere around you in the radius is burned down. It's crazy how greedy this country is. It's just disgusting. So when we talk about the Two of Water, this is kind of like the social emotional state because of these selfish and greedy wealthy people in high places. This talks about confusion, tears, sorrow, breakup. The sea is rough, although the surface is calm. Therefore, its depths is frighteningly dark, which brings up violence, psychic instability, and untrue feelings. A lot of these prominent people in high places that's had some of the most disrespectful things to say about the common man, about the common woman. Now they're in a position to where they need help. They're this Four of Water, dissatisfaction, fatigue, lack of happiness because of material losses. And the two cards above that, the Two of Fire, that's talking about spiritually feeling insecure, feeling like doors are being closed. And then the Three of Water reversed, that's talking about emotional insecurity, lack of faith. This talks about lack of understanding, false promises and false prophets, of vanishing success, desire for material domination, extreme sensuality, gluttony. All of these type of things is what happens to these people who gained this wealth because of the matrix. They gained these high places because of the matrix. But the way this matrix wants you to act as a wealthy person, or act as a person who has access to these resources and stuff like that, they want you to act stuck up. They want you to act selfish. They don't want you to help a poor person to get to where you're at. And that's the reason why emotionally there's always been a disconnect. There's always been this haves and have-nots type of situation when it comes to those type of people. So now different things in the world is happening to bring everybody to the same footing. So now certain conversations are going to have to be had, because with a different cycle comes a different fight. It comes a different war. It comes a different opposition. And the people that we've been taught for so long that was our opposition, we're seeing how they're scrambling right now. We're seeing how that was one of the worst things for us to even say, that these people had an opposition over us. But it took for certain things to finally be exposed in order for us to come up with this realization. So let's see what Friday has for us. Now, when it comes to Friday, this is going to be the true reason why we really need to make sure that we don't lose ourselves during this time. Make sure that we're using this time to stay in meditation, using this time to make sure that we stay connected and stuff like that, like how we need to be connected, because there can be a lot of communication right now that can really make you lose your faith. And you're not one of these wealthy powers that be that got this bad karma on them, so that's why they're losing everything. But just like how they said, with the wildfires and stuff like that, even if your house wasn't burnt down, the fumes and the different particles and stuff that's in the air, you still need to make sure that you're seeking medical attention and make sure that you're protected, how you need to be protected, because even that can affect you in a negative way. Just the air is bad. Right now the air is bad, and right now you got to protect your spirit, and that's what the man reversed is called. The man reversed card, that's talking about lack of faith. That's your spiritual body being tested, you feeling like life is upside down because of the imbalance when it comes to your mindset, which is Gemini, the 3rd house. There may be some imbalances with the people that you connect with, which is the 7th house. There may be an imbalance when it comes to who you need to associate with now that you're in this new cycle, now that you're this new this new person. You're not the same person no more, so you got to associate with what your new transformation is compatible with. As you can see, Iku has come up yet again for the 2nd week in a row, and not only has he come up again for the 2nd week in a row, he's came up upright. So this is a transformation that's inevitable. There's no way of getting around it. And also this transformation is going to be done in the dark because the sun is reversed. So that's the reason why there's a lack of faith. That's the reason why everything seems like it's bad communication, all that type of stuff, because for some of us, different transformations are going to be going on within us, and nobody from the outside is really going to be able to pinpoint it. So they're going to be communicating these negative things to you because they may think you're intentionally putting yourself in these situations or whatever, just not understanding that what you're going through is not nothing bad. It's not necessarily anything that you just did wrong. It's a cycle that's ended, and different things when it comes to the changes is going to happen spiritually first. It's going to happen emotionally. It's going to happen. It's going to be happening, but on the outside, things are still going to seem the way they are. So be empowered. That's what the fire element is talking about. Be empowered. Know who you are. That's the Aries. Know your creative strengths. Know what makes you the sun. Know what makes you your own sun. That's the Leo energy. And empower yourself due to the wisdom and the morality and all of those things that you gained from that last cycle. That's the Sagittarius. And that's also what gives you your fire, being the Phoenix. And it's something that you got to activate, because if you don't activate it and you're just a bird, you end up going through all of this stuff and you're still a bird. You haven't transformed. You haven't taken off your old skin, your old coat, and shed all of that so that you can be the Phoenix. You're going to end up being this 9 of air, which is worries, suffering, pressures, underlying danger. Somebody wants something that belongs to you, all of that type of stuff. Now it is time for us to wear our transformation like a new outfit. And when we do that, our spirit team is going to make sure that 9 of air, because again, this is 9, your spirit team is going to make sure that you are protected, that you are provided for and spoken for during this time. So now we are on the weekend, baby. So let's see what Saturday has for us. And as you can see, it seemed like, Saturday talks about when shit hit the fan. Man, it's crazy, because that village, that kind of talks about the wildfires, because I've been seeing a lot of Instagram videos of the aftermath of these wildfires. And when you look at these videos, it looks just like that village. It looks just like that village card. It talks about losses, talks about death, everything that 10 card from the beginning talked about. Everything that Iku and that sun for Friday talked about. Ogun reverse. That's law enforcement. I heard that there's a huge police presence out there. You got ICE down there deporting illegal immigrants that they're finding in a lot of these places and stuff like that. It's crazy right now. The 7 of fire, right next to the karma card, it talks about a less comfortable position that may demand resources that may not be practical or evolved as an exchange and stuff like that. Now, the card above it, which is the 4 of air, that's reversed. I mean, when you look at this spread, when you look at the layout for Saturday, it really does look like a cross. It really does look like a cross. This was definitely something that was extremely sacrificial. I'm not going to sit over here and say that it was 100% unnatural. I'm not going to say that it was 100% unnatural, but this was a very sacrificial situation. And it's crazy how in this particular spread, the only the only two cards that's upright is the village, which is the destruction, and the karma, which is in the middle. And when you look at that karma card, it looks like a cross with the divine feminine at the top and the masculine at the bottom. And when you look at the bottom part of that karma cross, you see the village, which is what's being destroyed in a cosmic level. You know, the toxic masculine powers that be that have trapped and disrespected the divine feminine. But for us, who's on the right side of this karma, you got the promise of the divine feminine, which is that 4 of air reversed. And that's talking about someone who literally, and I mean literally, made it out by the skin of their teeth. I mean literally by the skin of their teeth. So this person, you know, they're going to need some rest. They're going to need some healing. You know, they're going to have some wounds of sorrow because of past memories. You know, different, you know, people that got their houses burnt down, they survived. You know, they didn't die. They survived, but maybe their house didn't survive. So now you got these memories of the things that you used to do in that old house and in that old neighborhood, and the stores you used to go to, the places that you used to go, and all that stuff. But you made it. That's the thing. You made it. The thing that would have been extremely bad if you would have lost it, which was your life. You still got that, which means that you still have another chance to build. You still have another chance to start over and try again. You know, the karma card says, if we live our lives according to truth and justice, we will be rewarded with good karma. This is a wise teaching where time is of the essence, so let us not lose it. Freedom of spirit, reward for good luck. Legal actions and conflicts are now in our favor. Along the road, we will find the true oasis. Regardless of the obstacles or difficulties encountered, let us do away with them. Let us use the intelligence and free will our Lord has given us and help our fellow human beings, respecting and loving them above all. And I can't lie, you know, that's what I can say that I did when I did have that car. You know, that's what I can say that I did, you know, with that. So I'm at peace. You know, I'm at peace because I know my spirit team got me. You know, I know my spirit team got me. You know, I know my soul family got me, and I know I'm gonna get through this. I gotta get through. And that's something that, you know, we gotta, you know, put our prayers out, you know, to those people that's going through those things right now, because we're all going through our own wildfire. You know, you may be living in the house and, you know, your bills are paid, but you're going through your own spiritual wildfire. You know, we're all going through our own wildfires, and, you know, some things have to burn all the way to the ground. Some things can be saved. Some things can be salvaged or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's all about welcoming the transformation. You know, no matter how painful that it may be, no matter how unsure that it may make us, you know, no matter how uneasy, uncomfortable, unfulfilling that it may feel, that it may be, but it has to happen. It has to happen. And you know, when you're at the bottom, you know, there's no lower you can go. It's only up from here. You know, that's what I keep telling myself, is only up from here. You know, and with that being said, when we see what Sunday has for us, you know, it's always a beautiful message when it comes to Sunday. You know, the Obatala card reversed and the 6 of water, that's talking about glee, re-encountering with the inner God. You know, that's what this stuff is all about. You know, us, you know, we've been in this cycle to where we've put too much of our energy, we're using too much of our energy that's supposed to be used for our life path and for our spiritual path. We're using too much of this energy for material pleasure, you know, for material things, you know, material things that are necessities, material things that we feel like that this is what we need to be successful. You know, just we're investing too much into this matrix, you know, and that's not what we were here to do. So for a lot of us, when these painful cycles end, you know, it's gonna put us back into that alignment with our purpose. And that's what that Ace of Air is, you know, the messenger that brings peace. If the messenger that's supposed to bring peace and is supposed to reassure the people, if that messenger is not on his post because he's too busy door dashing so he can pay the rent, you know, who's gonna be able to fill those shoes? So yeah, you know, different things has to happen so that we can go back to our rightful jobs, our rightful places, you know. And then you see the Legba, speaking of jobs, you know, Legba reverse. You know, the reason why the employment didn't work out was because the outcast, you know, it wasn't your path. It wasn't your path. it wasn't meant for you to stay on that path long. It wasn't meant for you to stay on that path long. And that's the reason why Legba had to close that road, because Legba is the road opener. So Legba had to close that road, because at the end of the day, with the Outcast reversed, it literally talks about therefore he may be able to change what has been said before and go back to the right path, or else his weakness and or deficiencies may become more aggravated and irreversible. Suicidal instincts, perversion, obsessive neurosis, all of these type of things, because you keep wanting to delay the inevitable. Every time you delay the inevitable, it results in a spiritual attack. And last but not least, when we see that Babaluaye card that's right next to Legba with the enslaved prisoner, that's his message. See, the Babaluaye card, this is who we really are. This is the cycle that a lot of us are going into, but we had to leave that other cycle behind in order for us to be able to fully be in this next cycle, because you can't blend energies. Babaluaye. So the type of cycle that Babaluaye wants us to be in is a cycle that we can use our high fraternal and spiritual sense, a cycle that we can use our charitable and humanitarian power and spirit of service, our strong imagination, and our organizing mind. Isn't that the type of cycle that a lot of y'all out there want to be in? A cycle where you can use your organizing mind, you can use your charitable and humanitarian power, and it don't get taken advantage of. This is talking about a cycle that represents a process of an illness that comes to an end, recovery and improvement. So yeah, this is the cycle. This is a preview to show you that this is what the new cycle entails. But in order for us to fully jump into that cycle, we have to break the chains, just like what it says with the enslaved prisoner reversed. This card says, the greatest pain has ceased, but the effects of incomprehension still affect you. Break the chains, whether they're physical, moral, spiritual, or mental. You can do it. Avail yourself of the truths that your enemies and torturers have granted you. Ease your tension and forgive with the sublimation of love. You must face reality, and you can't face that reality if you keep on delaying the inevitable. And if y'all can heed that message, my friends, you will be glad that you did. All right, y'all. I know I got this out late, but I definitely wanted to get this out. This is a message that I needed during this time with everything I went through today. Make sure y'all keep me in your prayers. You know how to support. I always keep my donation links and stuff like that below. If you would like to get a reading from me, again, it's www.bandclaptv.com. Click on the services tab, and then you'll be able to see all the readings and services that I provide. And until next time, peace. What's up, y'all? I hope y'all enjoyed that video. And if you stayed to the end, I appreciate you. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, I want to redirect you to my Instagram page. I don't promote my Instagram page a lot, but as my subscriber count and things like that rise due to things like shadow banning and stuff like that, I'm hearing that a lot of people aren't getting my notifications when I go live on YouTube and stuff like that. So for all things BandClap TV, my Instagram page and my story are going to have all of the notifications and things like that when it comes to when I'm going live, when I'm going, when I'm releasing videos, when I'm releasing content. Also on my Instagram page, if you're curious about my reviews for my readings and stuff like that, as you can see on my Instagram, I have a lot of different testimonials and stuff like that. For those who don't know of me as an artist, I also have videos of me performing and stuff like that. I'll be putting out more stuff like that very, very soon. So I'm just trying to get as many people right now to go ahead and follow me on Instagram. That is BandClap TV. And also my Facebook and Snapchat, BandClap TV as well. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all. And like I always say, no matter what, you got to stay shining. You got to stay shining.